Our goal is to show how Jesus makes the unclean clean and forgives sins. Let's see how we can develop this lesson in a creative way so that the truth becomes clear. Here's how I would develop this lesson. Because the interaction between Jesus and the leper and Jesus and the paralytic is so direct, I would do a role play and come dressed as the character, sharing firsthand what the encounter with Jesus would have been like. I would use a bed sheet wrapped around with a tie, and for the leper I would also put an ace bandage around my face. For the paralytic, I would change into a different color bed sheet and come in with a rolled up mat. I would start by telling the students that today we're going to interview two special guests who got to meet Jesus and find out what it was like way back then. While I am getting into the leper costume, my helper would sing a song. Then I would come into the classroom saying, "Unclean, unclean." Around my neck, I would be wearing a sign that says, "Leper, unclean." My helper would read the interview questions such as, "Why do you say unclean? What is leprosy? Can you live with other people? I heard that you met Jesus. Can you tell us what that was like? What did Jesus do? Then what did you do?" After sharing that Jesus touched me and made me clean, I would say, if you have ever done something that has made you feel unclean or dirty inside, you can go to Jesus just like I did and say, "Lord, if you are willing, you can make me clean." And he will say the same thing to you. "I am willing, be cleansed." Then I would conclude the final details of how I shared the news and went to the temple in Jerusalem with my sacrifice to show the priest that Jesus had done a miracle. Again, my helper would lead in a song while I changed into the paralytic outfit. I would have a sign around my neck with the word paralytic, and inside the folds of my cloak I would have a sign that says sins. As I recount the story details, my helper would interview me with questions such as, "The name on your card says paralytic. What does that mean? But you're walking around now. What happened? Did Jesus have something to do with that?" I bet everyone was surprised. Then what happened? When recounting the details of being stretched out in front of Jesus, waiting for him to heal me, I would pause and say, "Everyone saw a paralytic lying there in front of Jesus, but Jesus saw right into me, and he knew what I really needed." At that point, I would pull out the sign, sins, and share how Jesus knew that I needed my sins to be forgiven. Then I would say, Jesus can do for you exactly what he did for me. He can forgive your sins. And if Jesus says your sins are forgiven, you will know exactly what I knew that moment. Even though no one else could see it, my sins were gone. I was forgiven because Jesus said so. I would conclude the details about the leaders grumbling and get the students to see that it is easier to say your sins are forgiven because no one can see whether it happened. But Jesus healed me so that people would know that he had also forgiven me. After coming back dressed as myself, we would then learn the memory verse Matthew 8:2 and 3. I would choose one student to come and wear the leper sign around their neck. They would hold the first card with the phrase, "Lord, if you are willing, you can make me clean." Another student would hold the second card. Jesus stretched out his hand and touched him, saying, as all the students say the second card together, they stretch out a hand toward the leper and pretend they are touching him. A third student holds the last card as all recite Jesus' answer together, "I am willing, be cleansed." The first student then chooses another person to come and wear the leper sign, and two more students come up to hold the second and third parts of the verse. I would repeat this until all have either been the leper or have held one of the other two cards. There is one warning for those teaching this lesson. If you do role play, it can be tempting to embellish the details with things that are not in the scriptures or not known from cultural details. You will want to read a Bible dictionary about how the houses were built and look up where Capernaum is. Think through what it was like at that time so that as you tell the story, you will be sticking as closely as possible to the details given in the scriptures.